Good morning, dear children. My name is Dr. Vishali Ghai, and the name of this channel is Tricks by Chemistry Group. So, children, today we'll talk about Class 12, Chapter 1, Solid State. So, before going to start with, let me tell you what is solid. When we talk about solid, we should know that solid is a form of matter. When we classify matter, we found that solid is one of the state of matter which possess these following properties. Like they have definite shape, they have definite volume, they are highly incompressible, they are rigid, their constituent particles held closely by strong intermolecular forces, and the constituent particles are having fixed position. We can say there is very little space between these constituent particles. Now, after the properties of solids, we'll talk about the classification of solid. And we classify solid into two categories on the basis of the arrangement of the constituent particles. And these two categories are crystalline solids and amorphous solids. First, we'll talk about some properties of crystalline solids. What is a crystalline solid? So, crystalline solid is a type of solid in which the constituent particles are arranged in a fixed pattern. A regular arrangement is there. Definite arrangement is there for the constituent particles throughout three-dimensional network. That means we can say there is an existence of crystalline solid. It is a solid figure which has definite geometrical shape with flat faces and sharp edges. Since it has definite geometrical shape, means the particles are arranged in a definite pattern. Being solid, they are highly incompressible with long range order. Long range order means when we see the arrangement, the definite arrangement of a solid, we can easily identify what is the arrangement of the constituent particles throughout the solid. That we call as a definite arrangement or long range order. They have definite sharp melting point. It means these solids melt at a fixed temperature. They are anisotropic. Very important property, anisotropy, which means they give different properties in different direction. They have definite geometry and they give X-ray diffraction bands. And the examples for such solids are NaCl, CaCl, etc. We can include some covalent solids like diamond, graphite also. The second category of solid we have is amorphous solids. The word amorphous has come from Greek letter which is amorphe, which means shapeless. We call solid as amorphous when the arrangement of constituent particles is not regular, is not fixed. They are also considered as supercooled liquids or pseudo solids. They do not have any sharp melting point. That means they melt over a wide range of temperature. And they all are isotropic. Isotropic means they give different same physical properties in all directions. They give same properties in all directions. They do not have any definite geometrical shape because the particles are not arranged in a fixed pattern. And also they do not give any X-ray diffraction bands. Few examples for amorphous solids are glass, rubber, plastic. Okay, so this is the classification of solid on the basis of the arrangement of constituent particles. Now, since we say crystalline solids are the true solids, so we classify crystalline solids further into four categories. We have molecular solid, ionic solid, metallic solid, and covalent solids. When we talk about molecular solid, we further classify molecular solid into three more categories as non-polar solids, polar solids, and hydrogen bonded solids. So these are the further categories of crystalline solids. Now we'll talk about these solids one by one. So when we talk about molecular solid, we should know the constituent particles are the molecules. So when we talk about molecular solids, we know that the constituent particles are molecules. So when we have a constituent particles as molecules in non-polar solid, we have non-polar submolecules. In polar solids, we have polar molecules, and in hydrogen bonded solids, we have such molecules which contain hydrogen in one of the molecule and nitrogen, oxygen or fluorine in another molecule, so that there will be a hydrogen bonding between such molecules. So when we talk about molecular solid, keep in mind the constituent particles are molecules. For ionic solids, the constituent particles are ions, may it be cation or anion. For metallic solid, the constituent particles are the positive charge metal ions. And for covalent or network solids, we have the constituent particle as atoms. So that is the first to distinguish between these four types of solids. We have one more category by which we can classify these solids as molecular solid has a bonding of van der Waals forces. Whereas in non-polar solids we have dipole induced in dipole interaction, in polar solid we have dipole-dipole interactions, and in hydrogen bonded solids, you know very well, it is hydrogen bonding. In ionic solid, the bonding is ionic bonding, or we call it as Coulombic force of attraction. In metallic solid, we have metallic bonding. And finally, in covalent solids, we say that we have covalent bonding between atoms. After this, we'll talk about their conductivity. So, molecular solids are insulators that means they do not conduct any electric current through them. Ionic solids are conductors, but they are conductor in solid state. They are insulators in Ionic solids are insulators in solid state, but they are good conductor in molten state or in aqueous solution. Metallic solids are good conductor in solid as well as in molten state. Whereas when we talk about covalent solids, they are insulators. They do not conduct electricity, but there is an exception is graphite. Graphite is a good conductor of electricity. Then when we talk about their physical nature, we say that molecular solids are generally soft. Ionic solids are hard, but they are brittle. Metallic solids, some metals are very hard and some are soft also. And covalent solids are also hard because of their strong bonding between them. When we talk about their melting point, the molecular solids have low melting point. Ionic solids have very high melting point. Metallic solids have low or high melting point, depends. If we have very close packing in some of the metal, they have high melting point. Whereas in some cases like zinc and cadmium, we have low melting point. In covalent solids, they again have very high melting point, and diamond is one of the very good example to show high melting point. Then we'll discuss some examples. So when we talk about molecular solid, we have some examples of argon, dry ice, iodine. When we talk about ionic solid, the example is some ions like ionic salts like sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, calcium fluoride, etc. When we talk about metallic solids, we have metals like copper, silver, gold. These are metals. When we talk about covalent solids, we have diamond, we have graphite, we have compounds of carbide, silicon carbide. So these are some important characteristic properties of various types of crystalline solids. And in the next class, we'll talk about the packing in a crystalline solid. So please like this video and subscribe this channel. Thank you.